In this video, big news. The Bitcoin price is currently breaking above this extremely important trend line, the most significant trend line in Bitcoin history, and Bitcoin is currently actually breaking above it. I'm going to talk about this, and I want to show you exactly what needs to happen for this to be a very bullish signal leading into the next few months after the halving. And also another massive news story: the US national debt just passed $25 trillion. I want to talk about what this means for all of us, and if you think that that sounds interesting, then I think that you should definitely watch this video. Hello guys, and welcome to the moon. My name is Carl and I'm here to bring you this cryptocurrency video. And first of all, I want to thank everyone who subscribed to my channel yesterday. I got 600 new subscribers only yesterday. Thank you so much for all of you who are new to my channel. Now let's dive right into the price action. So this is the 4-hourly time frame, and yesterday I showed you this bullish pennant and the fact that the likeliest scenario now is that we're actually gonna break up, and that we have to break up before the halving, because this pattern is of course convergence between support and resistance, and the breakout has to happen before the end of the triangle. The breakout came much sooner than I expected, and it happened just a few hours after I uploaded the video. But here you can see the breakout, and we can take a look at the volume real quick, and we can see that there is a lot of volume that came in. So this is for sure a breakout. Bitcoin did actually come down and even back tested the resistance. It came up again. That is a good sign, of course. But why is Bitcoin stopping right here and not going further? Because remember what I said yesterday. If we were to make a targeted analysis from this breakout, when we do break out, if we put it at the point of the breakout right there, we can see that we have a target now of roughly $10,350. So this means that Bitcoin is currently looking quite bullish. So why are we currently stuck here at 9.3K? Well, when we zoom out, we can see that Bitcoin is currently getting stopped out by this long-term downwards trending resistance that I've been talking about for the past few days here. This is a massive resistance line, long-term resistance, and whenever we break long-term resistance and support, we usually see a huge move. So I still believe that if Bitcoin breaks through these levels, then we're probably going to see a huge bull run in the next few months. So let's keep an eye on this now that the halving is taking place in just another 4 days from now. And speaking of very long-term support and resistance, do you remember this line that I've been talking about for a very long time, because it's one of the most significant trend lines in the Bitcoin history? This is on the logarithmic chart, by the way. We can see how Bitcoin got supported way back here since 2015. We saw a support right there, and when Bitcoin broke this, we saw this big, huge dump to the downside. And some of you probably remember this tweet, and also what I talked about back here, because back in March the 12th, I said that Bitcoin is right now breaking this long-term multi-year trend line, and this is bad news. Many hodlers will capitulate here. You can see here, this is where I made the tweet, and then we saw this huge capitulation candle where Bitcoin from that exact point went down 52% in just a matter of a few hours there. So Bitcoin fell 50% in a very short period of time, and this is why we should keep an eye on this trend line. It's extremely significant. Remember, so this was bad news. Look at the good news. Bitcoin is breaking above it right now. This is of course a very good sign, given that Bitcoin can hold above it here. I would like to point out that if you go to the weekly time frame, we need to get a weekly close above this level, and you could argue that we already saw one right there, but I would like to see this week to close above here decisively for this to be a buy signal. So far I am still going to remain cautious, because if this candle would come down and close below here, then in my opinion that's a bearish sign, and we're probably going to see another correction, just like we've seen several times here, right? Bitcoin tends to rally and then we see a correction. And keep also in mind that we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green weekly candles in a row. This would be the 8th weekly candle in a row, which would be bullish. And And if we can see yet another green weekly close, then yeah, that is of course an extremely bullish sign, just like we saw back here. And this is what I'm thinking, that maybe what we're seeing now is the beginning of what we saw back here, where Bitcoin had a big capitulation, and then Bitcoin eventually went really bullish here. And after these 7 consecutive green candles, Bitcoin had a massive parabolic run-up. So I am leaning more to the bullish side, but I'm going to hold off on this weekly close, because this will be the deciding factor for me here on the weekly time frame. But on the daily, we have already broken this massively important trend line. And next up, BitMEX has seen a massive traffic drop in April relative to other exchanges. Traffic is down by 40% from 13.4 million to 8 million visits. Coinbase is only down 7% and Binance is only down 2%. This is not looking good for BitMEX. And you guys know exactly why this is happening. BitMEX is just not a good exchange. They are handling customer service very poorly. They are doing a lot of shady things that I brought up in a video, which is popping up right there, where in this video that is popping up here, I deleted my BitMEX video and I talked about why I believe that BitMEX is not a good place to trade. This is why they are losing market share, because other exchanges are so much better. And this is why I have no problem recommending these exchanges, because they are just light years ahead of BitMEX. Bybit is by far my favorite still. They have the best customer service in crypto by far. Phemex is a good competitor to Bybit. And if you still trade on BitMEX, I would urge you to leave BitMEX ASAP and choose one of these exchanges. If you deposit 0.5 Bitcoin on Bybit, you will get a bonus. If you deposit 0.2 Bitcoin on Phemex, you will also get a bonus. But this is only for experienced traders, because trading is very, very risky. And next up, breaking news. The US national debt just broke above $25 trillion. That's trillion dollars. And this is not even factoring in all of the newly promised trillions of dollars that they have talked about. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, I talked about another 3 trillion that they will be printing. And there's another 2 trillion also, I think, that is not calculated here. So guys, this is going to escalate much quicker than previously expected. And the national debt here is probably going to be up at 50 trillion sooner rather than later. So this is the USDebtClock.org, and we can see a lot of interesting information here about the US debt. For example, we can see that the US national debt is growing by $100,000 every 2 seconds or so. This means that the debt liability per taxpayer is approximately $200,000. And interestingly, we can see that the US federal tax revenue is going down every single minute here. Now, that's obviously a bad sign, seeing debt going up, tax revenue going down. And down here, if we scroll down further, we can see unfunded debt/interest, US total interest paid going up every single minute. And we can also see here down under money creation, we can see that the US M2 money supply is also growing extremely rapidly here. Every single minute, we see millions of dollars getting created. And this is the craziest part of all. Currency and credit derivatives now. Listen to this. $679 trillion. That's a number bigger than it's not even possible to conceptualize how much this is. 679 trillion is absolutely ludicrous. Back in 2000, this number was already at 90 trillion, which was already bad, but this has escalated enormously since the 2000s. And we can also see how the US M2 money supply has grown from the 2000s, from almost 5 trillion to now 17 trillion approximately. And if we scroll down even more here, we can see that household assets are declining every minute here. US total national assets are declining also every single minute here. And we see also US unfunded liabilities at $147 trillion. So what is this? Because the national debt is at 25 trillion. And if you scroll down here, it says that the US national assets are at 144 trillion. So maybe 25 trillion isn't as bad as it might sound, some guy might say. But look at this, US unfunded liabilities. This is also debt. This is promises from the government, things that the government has to pay for in the future. An example would be some kind of welfare program. For example, if the government were to build a hospital in the future, if that costs $15 million, then that's an unfunded liability. It's something that has to be paid for in the future, but it is not calculated in the current debt. But it should be, because this is debt. This has to be paid in the future. So we're seeing massive amounts of debt that has to be paid for in the future. And guys, this is the problem with a monetary system which is debt-based. All new currency is born out of debt, and as long as the inflation keeps going and going, we will see also, of course, more and more currency get printed, debts go up, and this is a pyramid scheme that eventually has to pop. And when it will pop, when it does pop, we will see a huge economic financial disaster. But at that point, it will not be a financial crisis. It will be a monetary crisis, a currency crisis where dollars and yens and other fiat currencies will be completely evaporated from their value. And that's when Bitcoin comes in, because Bitcoin is not debt-based. Just like gold, it's also not debt-based. It's a bearer asset. If you hold it in your hand, it's not a liability for someone else. So, for example, if you hold $1, it's actually someone else's liability. If you hold a bond, it's also someone else's liability. You're just holding someone else's debt. But holding a Bitcoin, holding a gold bar, it's your asset in your hand. No one can ever claim it from you. It's not an IOU. And this is why I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin and gold, as I see debts rising globally. Now I've been talking about the US, but this is globally. We're seeing global debt at record levels, extraordinary levels, and you can take all of these numbers and apply that to the whole global economy. It's completely insane. Thank you for watching. Let's see if we can push this video to 3,000 likes. That would be amazing. And if you haven't seen this video, then click right there, right now, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.